Hey, my name is Craig Carton, and welcome to The Comeback. As a responsible gaming ambassador for FanDuel and someone who has personally navigated the challenges of gambling addiction, I understand the impact it can have on your life and the lives of those you care about. The road to recovery is not easy, but I've committed myself to helping others who are facing similar struggles. At The Comeback, we aim to amplify real stories of those who have experienced both the highs and the lows of gambling addiction. We are here to break down the stigma surrounding gambling disorder, the support and resources needed to help individuals and their families, and show that, yes, recovery is possible. My mission is to inspire hope, offer support, and remind everybody that the path to regaining control starts with understanding. Welcome to The Comeback. Hey there, welcome to another edition of The Comeback with Craig Carton. Thank you so much for joining us for the next 25 minutes or so. Frank, open, honest conversation about gambling addiction. Happy to have Jordan here, professional basketball player over in Europe and a fellow gambler in recovery. I always start the show off by asking the date or time of your last wager when you started getting healthy. What is it for you?
Just coming up to 2 years now, placed my last bet.
That's awesome. And I assume life is a lot better today than it was 2 years ago?
So much better. Complete U-turn.
Got it. All right, so let's tell your story here a little bit. How old were you when you were first exposed at any level to gambling before you started gambling and it became a problem?
When I was 18, it was the first time I experienced gambling at the casinos. And then when I moved to America for collegiate basketball is where it kind of took the turn for the worst.
And that was because you saw other guys doing it? Your first exposure, was it casino games? Was it card games? What was the first thing you kind of witnessed?
It was casino betting, so we would drive an hour away just so we could gamble. I wanted to do it with teammates, older guys, and yeah, just get that buzz and that competitive side.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, a lot of the young people I counsel now and talk to are either athletic or just naturally very competitive. And that's usually a problem for people that become, like us, compulsive gamblers, because what's the one thing competitive guys hate? Losing. And it doesn't jive in our brains that we're not going to win or not figure out how to become great at this task, which for me was playing blackjack. For you was maybe a different style of gambling. But it's the losing that drives us crazy, which makes us then throw discipline out the window and start chasing our money and making really bad decisions. What early on, when you first started gambling actively, was there a particular type of gambling you enjoyed more than others?
Yeah, it was roulette for me.
Really?
I had an all or nothing kind of mentality.
Yep.
I would go in with all my money and put it on either red or black.
Oh, you went in Jump Street, both feet in the deep end.
Yeah. I was a broke college student, and I would go in with $100, put it on red or black, and my destiny was decided in about 26 seconds.
Sure. Now, the problem with that is, if you win, do you do it again? Or was there any point in your life where you had the discipline to double the money and take a hike?
Yeah, at the beginning it started
You
off
did.
as winning a couple times, but then, it gradually got worse.
And as you started doing it, I assume that there was a point where it went from great camaraderie, hanging out with the guys, as you talked about, which is a huge, powerful thing. You're being a part of a team. How quickly for you did it go from that to you doing it by yourself without buddies hanging out with you?
It was once I turned professional and signed my first pro contract. In college, I didn't have many responsibilities, but once I was able to go do things by myself and have a little bit more money is when it became a lot more intimate and a lot more.
I've always said that for me, the biggest issue with my gambling issues was in between my ears, my ego. I thought I was God's gift. There's not a guy on this planet that's a better card player than me. It's how I processed it. There was not a casino that was going to hold me down. If I lost at one, I'd go to another one. If I lost at a second one, I'd go to a third, because there's no way I was going to be beaten. And if I had the discipline when I was really in the depths of it to walk out at certain stages of the night, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd still be doing what I was doing back in the day. Was it similar for you? Ego?
Yeah, definitely. Ego, competitiveness, just not wanting to lose. I think that's ingrained in me as an athlete as well. So
Sure.
Those type of behaviors.
When you look back in your life now with clarity, was there ever a point in your life where you can be honest now with yourself and say, I wasn't working on my game, meaning basketball, the way I used to. My focus wasn't the same. I wasn't in the gym as much because gambling had kind of taken the place of what used to be the most important thing to you?
100%. My first year was probably my only successful year on the court as a professional, and then the rest of my career was completely affected by gambling.
And part of living that lifestyle, of course, is the reality that we become world-class liars. And we become even better at hiding it. Now, some can debate, is hiding a lie? It is. But I know I processed it in my brain when family members would come to me, and I always said to them, I didn't lie to you. I just didn't tell you the truth, right? So give me an idea for you. Was there ever a point when you were gambling where someone who cares about you, someone who loves you, a girlfriend, a spouse, a parent, whatever, a sibling, said, hey, Jordan, there's something wrong. You're off. You're not the kid I know. You're not the guy I know. You're not putting the work in like you used to. Did anyone ever come to you?
My family recognized it first. My mum, she saw that socially. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to see friends because I was just always on my phone gambling on different sports. And she didn't know what was going on, but she knew something was wrong.
And how did you respond? Obviously, no, I'm good, right?
Yeah, shut it down. Like, I'm fine. You know, I'm a professional basketball player. I'm fine. I don't need help. And then, yeah, she started to figure out something was really wrong.
Now, give us an idea. A lot of gamblers, myself included, have what we kind of describe as our bottom of the barrel moment. Before we get to yours, give me an idea when you were at the height of it. What was a normal day or week like for you? Like, how did you budget your time for life, for basketball, for socialization, and gambling? Walk me through what a normal day was like.
I was gambling 24/7. So I would walk to practice because I couldn't afford a bus or public transport. I would gamble before training. I would gamble during training when we get in water breaks. I'd gamble on the way home, and I'd gamble as soon as I got home. So it was
all on your phone?
All on my phone.
So was there a point when you'd still go into casinos, or you became exclusively a phone gambler?
Phone gambler. I didn't want everyone to see me gambling. I wanted to keep it quite quiet.
Yeah, it's funny. I always say that recovery is very unique. You have to recover on your time, and my recovery has no impact on your recovery. I can talk to you about it because I've walked a mile in your shoes. It's the addiction that's the same. I always share this story. I'll share it with you. When I went to rehab in Arizona, here I was, I thought a big bad guy, right? I'm wagering $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 on a single hand of blackjack. And I loved it, right? And I'm sitting in a room with a guy whose addiction was $1 scratch-offs. And yet, if you asked him, and we did, to describe how he processed gambling emotionally and mentally, word for word. So I'm here 30 grand a hand. He's here at $1, essentially. But the addiction's the same. It's how you choose to recover that becomes very unique. Was there a bottom of the barrel moment for you? For me, mine played out obviously publicly here in New York. I was arrested at 3:45 in the morning on the streets of New York City. And unfortunately, all of my kind of warts played out publicly, and that's part of my story. What was your bottom of the barrel moment? Was there one last night where it just all went south?
Yeah, I mean, the first one being that it went public, where I was gambling on my own games, and I ended up getting in trouble with the league, with the Basketball Federation, and that was made public. So that was the first time that it kind of got made that everyone can see what was actually going on.
So let's walk through that. Were you gambling just on the outcome of your team's game? Were you gambling on prop bets for your performance or teammates' performance? Walk us through that.
It was just on our team to win by more. So if we was at a -6, I would bet on us to win by more 10 points. Yeah.
So you always bet on your team.
Yes.
Got it. But they don't care because it's still a problem. Like you obviously can't do that because it also changes how you play the game.
Yeah.
Were there moments when you were playing and gambling where you were aware of the spread and maybe you hadn't covered yet, where you might have done something you ordinarily wouldn't have done, like take an awkward shot, drive to the lane, go against coach's orders? Did you do that?
100%.
You did.
There's one specific time that I really remember. It was the last game of the season. The game was basically done, and I had us to win by 20, and we was up comfortably, and you can see me visibly frustrated on the bench, trying to get guys to win by more, and the whole sportsmanship was out the window, and luckily we did win by 20 at the time because I needed the money, but again, you can just see the integrity of the sport. I was just going against.
Yeah, it's funny. When I got in trouble, the first thing people did is they went to the people I worked with. Now, you're sitting on a bench, you're traveling with guys, you spend more time with your teammates than your own family. I did the same thing in radio here in New York City, And one of the first things people did when I kind of got outed as having a gambling problem, they went to my co-host, the former NFL player, they went to my producers, and they were like, how did you guys not know? And their answer, which was honest, was everyone knew I liked to gamble. I talked about gambling a lot. I had a deck of cards in my back pocket, literally 24/7. If you look at my Amazon account, I had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of decks of cards, and I carried one with me at all times. A, to do magic tricks, and B, because I would play fake games of blackjack. I just loved the numbers and the counting. And I wonder for you, I'm sure there are people who had the same reaction to your teammates and coaching staff. How did they not know? And my answer was, because I'm brilliant at hiding it.
Exactly. No one would ever find out unless I brought it to attention. I was so good at hiding my phone, hiding my transactions, hiding everything, unless I actually really wanted someone to know about it.
So for you, when the poop hit the fan and now you become a bit of a pariah, basketball player wagers on his own games, which is a no-no, did you stop right then and there, or was there more?
No, I stopped initially. My mum took control of my finances, but that's because I got caught. I didn't want the actual help for myself at the time. I wasn't ready for the help. And it took a few years for me to realize that, so many relationships I broke, friendships, family relationships. And then I finally decided I want to get help for myself.
Was there something that made you do that? Were you tired of being tired? Did you have a big loss? Did you look at a bank account that said triple zeros? What happened?
I was exhausted, emotionally, physically. You could see it on me now. I wasn't the same person that I was, and I was just tired of, Christmas Day. I couldn't afford a Christmas card for my mom or, little presents, and I was tired of seeing the disappointment in the people that I cared about.
There's unfortunately a lot of depression associated with this addiction, and the suicide rate's higher for gamblers than it is for alcoholics and drug addicts. And you were a public figure as well as a professional basketball player. Did you ever go through those dark moments?
Yeah, there was a time that I did attempt to take my own life.
You did?
During lockdown, it was a really, really tough time for me. Alcohol was being consumed, drugs, anything to get away from the reality of which I was living. And I did attempt to. And fortunately, I was found by friends and family, and I was taken to the hospital. But
would you take pills? Something?
Some pills.
Combination.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We don't talk about that aspect enough, and I'm not saying it to because it's shock value. I've told my story where I was on a ski lift out in British Columbia in Canada. My wife was hiking, and I'll never forget on the way down on this ski lift, and I'd had an edible, so I wasn't maybe thinking in the right mind, to be honest about it. And I raise up the bar, and I'm going to jump out of the ski lift. And it's weird because I didn't necessarily want to die. I never had that feeling where I didn't want to wake up tomorrow. But the world was caving in. I knew that. I had not been arrested yet. I got all these things coming at me. And I'm on this ski lift in the summertime, so it's rocks. There ain't no snow beneath me. And I raise up the bar, and I'm not a very emotional guy. I don't cry much. And all of a sudden, tears streaming down my face. And I started talking to myself out loud. And I'm like, you're not going to do this. You're better than this. It's not how you're going out. But all the while, I'm moving up to the edge of the seat, just trying to figure out where I'm going to go. And grace of God, phone's with me. I called a dear friend, and he talked me down for 30 seconds. But I've been there, and it's dark, which is why I always, when I talk to fellow men and women in recovery, one of the things I try to get out of the conversation is we're in a position to help people that were us years ago. I'm 7+ years now in recovery. You're 2 years almost in recovery. What do you say to someone if you had the chance, at a meeting, or if someone came to you with a kid who's got a problem, but they're at day one? They're at the place you were at when you attempted to take your own life, where I was at when I wanted to jump off this chairlift. What do you say to the person that's literally at step one, where the walls are caving in and the world's a dark place and they don't think there's a way out of it?
Well, the first thing, just talking about it is an amazing thing in the first place. That lifts a lot of the pressure off. And then the second step for me, or I'd advise, is getting rid of any way that you can possibly gamble.
Right. Self-exclude, all those things.
Yes, completely get away from it, and then have that support system around you. Therapy and different things might work for other people. I had to finally decide for myself that I needed the help. I even did stuff like I would record myself after a loss and see the reaction. And if I can't listen to myself, then who am I going to listen to?
Wow, that's very powerful. Did you save those recordings?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I would look back on it.
Yeah, it's weird when you're talking about that. I'm thinking to myself the same thing. And I always try to figure out why did I stop? And that's like, for me, that's the last kind of barrier for me. I don't know why I stopped. I challenged myself and I failed my own personal challenge. And that was the last day I wagered. I left money in the car on purpose, went into the casino, lost with the notion, I know the money's out there, don't go get it. I went and got it. And that's the last day I gambled. But when people say to me, why did you stop? I don't know. I just woke up one day and I said, like you said, tired of being tired. It was enough. And in a weird way, the day I got arrested, which was the worst day of my life, obviously, also represented freedom to me. Now, I say that acknowledging that I went to prison. I lost my freedom, but my soul was free. My brain was free because I wasn't being driven around and controlled by this nasty addiction. I assume you feel something similar.
100%. I think I got to a point where I was gambling where I would feel more comfortable when I got to zero because I knew it was done.
over.
I couldn't gamble anymore. I was just
now.
happy. And I think the big change for me was when I decided, like, I know how this outcome ends when I gamble. Like, whether I win, whether I lose, I know how it ends. Whereas this new leaf where I have new opportunities in life, I've turned the leaf, it's like a much better feeling rather than knowing the outcome of gambling.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is, what you don't realize until you get to a healthy place you're at now is all the brain power you used to use on gambling. And for a lot of people, it's a struggle. What do I replace it with? You know, how do I spend the time? So what did you choose? As an athlete, I assume you fell back in love with basketball or competition. But when you were no longer spending the hours and hours and hours a day on gambling, what did you replace it with?
Well, I realized I'm a person that needs big dopamine hits, and I just trying to figure out myself. But to be honest, I just wanted to rekindle all these relationships. So spending time with my family, I never did because I was always on my phone.
Right.
Friends,
You were physically there, but you weren't there.
I was always checked out. You know, I was always going to the toilet to go to gamble and things like that. So just reconnecting with family and friends and just doing activities with them was just so much more appreciative.
Yeah, like I'll go for an hour-long walk with my dog. I'll go to the gym, just something to get my mind off it. This is going to be a weird question for you. We're talking to Jordan, a professional basketball player who's in recovery almost 2 years now, so life is grand. Trust me on that. Try to think of the right way to ask the question. When you see people that you know have a problem, is it hard to tap them on the shoulder and bring it up and talk to them, or are you comfortable doing it?
I'm pretty comfortable. Like, even on teams now, I've seen players that are gambling.
You know.
Yes. I can see the behaviors. You know, you can see it from a mile away. And I don't want to force it on them. It's like when you want to force some sort of an agenda on them. Like, I just tell them, look, these are the type of outcomes that can happen. This is what has affected my life. So just being there for them. Because if someone does have a problem, the worst thing you can do is say, you're gambling too much, or you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that.
Because then they'll never talk to you.
You just want someone that's going to listen. And that's what I needed at the time. So I just feel like if I do the same, just be there for someone that needs them, at the time.
One of the things for me in my journey was dropping the shame associated with it. Because, you never, look, you're a competitive athlete. I was competitive, my chosen field, being on the radio and TV. I like to win, right? And you're walking away from something I love so much. Took time to process. How about for you?
Yeah, I just always lived in constant regret of like where my career could be at if I didn't gamble. And I've always had this social pride of thinking I needed to live a certain way because I'm a professional basketball player. And I had to get to ground, back to the bottom of the basement, basically, just to kind of...
It's humbling.
Yes, very humbling.
How long did it take you to drop the shame? Like, there was a point where I didn't want anybody to know that I was a compulsive gambler because it's weak. For me, it was a sign of weakness. I now view it as a sign of strength. If you could admit that you fell prey to something out of your control, I think that makes you a man. Yeah. I think it's very powerful to accept that and own it. So now, obviously, I do a show like this. I'll tell the world that I'm a compulsive gambler, and I'm no longer embarrassed by it. But that doesn't happen overnight. How about for you?
Yeah, I mean, at first I was very embarrassed, and I think for me the turning point was when I started to talk about it and having those tough conversations and seeing the effect that it had on other people. I didn't realize my story would help others.
Sure.
And
which is even more powerful.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that was the case, and figuring that out and just seeing how much of an actual problem it actually is something that we need to talk about.
And before I let you go, and I really do appreciate your time and I love the fact that you share your story, I want to go back to that kid that's sitting there, in the corner and life's coming at him too fast. If you could counsel that young man or woman, and you could only give like one best piece of advice that you look back in your life, if you had this, maybe you would have gone down the road as far as you went down. What's the best piece of advice you can give someone that is finally willing to admit that they too have a problem?
I think once you admit it, it's a huge thing. But I used to think of it as every day, every 24 hours that I haven't gambled is a success. Great. I used to look at it long term and think these people have been, sober for 10 years or 15 years, they haven't gambled. And I used to think, oh, wow, like I used to feel like a pressure.
Sure.
But I just see it as every 24 hours that you do it is
it's another great day.
Yes,
it's a great point because it's daunting. It was for us. Mm-hmm. If someone says to you, you're never going to gamble again the rest of your life. Well, man, I've been gambling 24 hours a day for years. That ain't going to happen. Yeah. But if you say to someone, as cliche as it might be, don't gamble today.
Yes.
Don't gamble before lunch. Let's really break it down. I can process that. I can convince myself I'm not going to gamble before 2 o'clock. And then that carries over, which is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. And I just stopped looking at it as long term and just every day is a success and just keep building on myself.
And give people an idea now that you're almost 2 years in, just how much better life is without gambling.
So much better. I'm building relationships. I'm building my career. And I'm able to play basketball without thinking, what am I going to have for food after or what I'm going to have for, meals and stuff because I couldn't afford those things back then.
When you first came in, were you concerned that I might back you down in the low post?
Yeah, give me a little post up.
That wasn't a concern?
Yeah, no.
Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, I can take him in the low post, a little fade away, that kind of thing. Well, Jordan, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Thank you.
We need more people like you to share your stories because it does resonate. And I guarantee you there are people that will get help because they've heard your story. And anything I can ever do to repay this favor, I'm all in. So I wish you the very best. I'm proud of you. Also, men need to hear that. Like, I'm proud of you. 2 years is a major accomplishment. And hopefully, knock on wood, you never do it again. But I will finish this by asking the toughest question of the day. Is there any part of you that misses it?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's an honest answer. I think, being someone that's an addict, you have that. But I just know the outcome. I just know what the outcome looks like.
Yeah.
I wish I could gamble responsibly, but that's just something I can't do. And that's something that I know. So
awesome.
It's fine.
Thanks for coming by.
No problem.
That's Jordan, and this was another episode of The Comeback. Gambling is intended to be a form of entertainment, not a source of stress or an emotional outlet. That's why responsible gaming tools exist, to help you stay in control and make informed choices. Here at The Comeback, we want everyone to be aware of the tools and resources available to help you play smart. These tools empower players to set boundaries, track their activity, and take breaks when needed. Today, I want to take a minute to talk about one of FanDuel's most popular RG tools, deposit limits. Deposit limits are designed to help set a budget, manage your spending, and keep your play fun. This tool allows you to set a specific dollar amount that serves as a limit for how much you can deposit. With deposit limits, you can control how much you deposit in any given day, week, or month. These limits can be set individually or together, allowing you to manage your spend across multiple time frames. Okay, so how do you set up a deposit limit? Navigate to FanDuel's RG Center by clicking the RG logo at the top left of the mobile app screen. From there, scroll down to User Tools and expand the user limits list to show deposit limits. From there, you can enter your desired dollar amounts for any of the options, daily, weekly, or monthly. Once you're happy with your limit amounts, click Apply Limits and then Confirm. You can then scroll down to view your currently active deposit limits. Now, if you decide along the way you want to adjust those limits to fit with your budget, you'll be subject to a 3-day cool down period from the time that you initially set them before they can ever be increased. It's just another protection for you. Make sure you're keeping your gambling fun and make sure it's always a positive experience. Visit FanDuel.com/RG or navigate the responsible gaming section of the FanDuel app today to learn so much more about the other tools and about deposit limits.